In this video, we want to continue with our basic counting principle. So in our previous video, we spoke about the multiplication principle, where we stated that if objects are selected in sequence, if one object follows the other, whether independent or dependent, we use the multiplication. But there are instances or there are events that are mutually exclusive. They are mutually exclusive. When we say they are mutually exclusive, we use the word disjunction. It means that we use the word either or. Either or, they are mutually exclusive. They can never happen together. They can never happen together. They can never happen together or at the same time. They can never happen together. So one is different. They are two different objects. How do we combine them? How do we combine them? So when they are two different objects and then they are not sequential, they don't happen in a sequence, or one occurs differently and then the other occurs differently, then we say that. So here you are not basically selecting objects. You are not basically selecting objects from the same box as we stated in the first scenario, where we had just one box with three balls in it. Here they may be about different boxes. They may be different distinct boxes containing different balls. So selecting one from this and selecting one from, you realize that they are not happening at the same time, or one does not follow the other, but then you are selecting from different objects. So let's say you have first box, second box, and then third box. So box 1, box 2, this one has balls 2 or 3 balls, this one has 2 balls, this one has also 3 balls. So you are selecting from different distinct boxes, not from the same box. So we say that they are mutually exclusive. They don't happen at the same time. They are not sequential. They don't follow each other. So when this happens, when the event is in this regard, what do you do? What combination? How do you combine them? In this case, we use the addition principle. And then most of the times when it comes to multiplication, we use the word and. Word and, or followed by and 2 and 2, 2 and 3, 2 and 4, 2 and 5, or 2 followed by. That's when we use multiplication. But anytime we hear either or, it means that they are mutually exclusive. It means that one can occur and then the other can occur, not at the same time, but from distinct scenarios. Okay, so now let's take an example to illustrate this addition principle. So this example here, let's say choosing a book. A student wants to borrow a book. The library has 20 fiction books. Fiction means untrue books, books that are written based on imaginary stuff, and then 15 fiction books, so that are real books that are written on real life situations. How many different books can the student choose from? How many different books can the student choose from? Now, in this case, we want to know how many different books that the student can choose. So the student can either choose from the fiction books or the non-fiction books. You realize that they are in two categories. The student is not selecting from the same category, but different or distinct categories. So he can either select fiction books or he can either select non-fiction book. Because the question says that a student wants to borrow a book, just one book. So in borrowing that one book can either be a fiction book or a non-fiction book. So in this case, you realize that either or has been introduced, and for that matter, we have to ensure that the addition principle is applied to combine the event together. So here, how many? Now, when the student wants to select maybe fiction book, there are 20 possibilities, because there are 20 different fiction books, very important, and there are 15 different non-fiction books. So the fiction books are there. So let's say this is This box contains, so let's say these are the books. These are the books, different books, different fiction books on different imaginary stories. So there are 20 possibilities. If the student select, there are 20 possibilities of selecting maybe a fiction book on animals, a fiction book in plant, a fiction book in except a whole lot of stuff. So there are 20 possibilities. And then also when it comes to non-fiction books, there are also 15. So there are 15 possibilities. So how many different ways can this be selected? Just take the first possibility. We need only one book, not two, only one. So the first, if it is a fiction book, it's going to be 20 possibilities because there are only one book that the student want to select from. And then if it is also non-fiction book, there are 15. So the number of different ways that the book can be selected, either a fiction or non-fiction book, is going to be 20 plus 15, which is 35. So this is the main difference between the two basic counting principles, the multiplication and then the addition. Now let's also take another example. Let's take another example on this. So we have a committee. So this committee needs to select one representative who is either a teacher or a student. So the representative can either be a student or a teacher. So if there are 10 teachers and 25 students, so selecting a student, there are 25 possibilities. And selecting teacher 2, there are 10 possibilities.